Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Mac.
And today we're giving our first impressions of Caldera Park, which is a game from, what was it?
Pegasus.
Kramer and Kiesling.
There we go. That's the one.
And Pegasus Spiel games as well, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one we just got done trying for the first time. And it was a pretty approachable, simple one. That you made sense what you were doing, pretty simple things, but some crunchy decisions, or tough decisions, I would say, trying to map out your little animals on your, I don't know, what would it be, your landmark, your parks, your habitats. And yeah, so this one is one where, if you've played games like Cascadia or something, you've got these, your board is already predetermined in this one, so you're not adding to your different habitats. Those are already kind of set in place. So you got kind of the forest, the mountain, the desert, and those are kind of three places you can put animals into. And then in those places there's additional things that will go into those, because there's like a river that goes across the board, and then I think there's like some springs or something that you can go around.
And
geysers. There's a volcano. So
a caldera.
And then there's just some extra spaces where weather will happen.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
that will impact.
The board is already kind of set up, and I think it's the same for every player. And then you have, I think, the same set of tiles every player has. But they may come out in different order, so that's what makes this one different than a game like Karuba, per se, because that one everyone's going to use the same one, but this one you'll kind of have 7, I think, that you're choosing from, or is it 6?
6.
6 that you're choosing from. That you know of, and the rest of your tiles will be face down, and you'll be adding them anywhere on your board, and trying to create groups of animals is one of the biggest things you'll be doing. And otherwise you're trying to surround the geyser thing, trying to cover all of one land or type of land, the whole river, just to get points at the end of the game.
Covering all the waterfalls.
Yeah, all the waterfalls. But the animals are probably the biggest part.
Yes.
And
grouping them into families.
How did you feel that went?
I thought it started off strong, and then I kind of lost it a little bit, and then I got it back. But I had this weird thing where it's like I had a bunch of one animal come out, and then I had another set of another animal come out, and then I had another set of animals come out. I mean, they were kind of sprinkled in, but like I was like bear, wolf, goat, and eagle came like real quick, and then the buffalo and the moose kind of were out there, but they kind of just got thrown to the side because it got messed up. And as we play it more, I think I would know then, like, hey, don't stretch it because you only get so many of a tile with wolves on it, so like, you know, don't set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, and one of the things, like, I would compare it to like King Domino, where you have to have crowns in order to score areas that you're putting together. To score groups of animals, you have to have ponds that animal is in. There'll be some tiles with ponds on them that'll have either that one animal or multiple types of animals on it, and those will be multipliers for those groups. So you also have to have those in there. So those are a very important part, because you can have a huge group of animals, but if you only have one pond,
don't matter. They're only,
God forbid, 0 ponds, they don't score anything, and you only score your highest one. And yeah, that's where I kind of got all my bears came out at the end, and I hadn't really set myself up. I think there might have been one like bear pool one that didn't have like other animals, so I'd already kind of used the pools. So I was kind of just, my last tiles, I was just kind of trying to complete some of those other outstanding things and not really adding to bears. But otherwise, I felt like most of the time I could kind of control where I was putting things, because I think one of the interesting things in this one is there's a board that a player is getting to choose an animal type, one of the animal types in the game, and then move it up top on this board that has the 3 different habitat types: the river, the waterfall, and next to a geyser thing, and then there's a pool one. And you get to pick one of those things, and then you get to put it in one of those areas, and then everyone has to, if they have a tile of that type, has played that in that type of area if they're able to as well. So that's a very interesting thing, because if you run yourself down to no goats or something, then, or not goats, is it goats?
Yeah, they're mountain goats.
Mountain goats. If you run yourself out and then Michaela picks a goat onto the forest, well, now I can pick any of my tiles and then put it in the forest if I can put it in the forest. Otherwise, I'd get total freedom of what I wanted to do with it. And I think that's really cool that, or kind of another part of the strategy of, okay, well, I really need this to go into here, so if anyone puts, I maybe only have one mountain goat, if anyone puts that mountain goat somewhere else, if I just let that go around, and they force me to place mountain goat, I'm not going to be able to add it to this group where I want it to, so I'm going to have to do that one first, just to, for sure, because I don't have other options.
Yeah, in my head I was like, okay, all right, you need bear and wolf. You need bear and wolf. So what does he choose? If he chooses bear, you have to choose wolf. If he chooses wolf, you choose bear. But if he chooses neither, then you have to pick which one is the most important one. And that got me one time. I picked wrong. I picked eagle instead of wolf. And then I realized a couple turns in, I was like, oh no, there's no way for me to possibly get this wolf here now. I should have done that one because I could have done 2 options with this one. It got me. It got me.
Yeah, it's more interesting than I thought it would be, and like figuring out the timing of things. Sometimes you have like 3 different tiles with a moose on it or something, and in that case you're like, I can try to make something work no matter what they pick if they move that moose up, because maybe you have a single moose, and so the tiles have like anywhere from 1 to 3 animals on them. So kind of some of those single ones aren't quite as valuable as maybe some of the, like the triple moose. If you've only got the triple moose and you're like, I really can't afford them to put moose on desert, you better pick, if you get the opportunity, you better get that moose played. So yeah, I think it made for some interesting decisions, and then just trying to fill it out the best you could. You'll probably feel kind of samey from game to game. Or, I mean, you'll feel like you're doing kind of a similar thing, but I think you will kind of learn maybe some of those maybe nuances of when you can take the risk of not picking, whatever one a certain one over the other. But I think it'll still be one that could be approachable to many people.
Yeah, I agree. I think it plays pretty well. It reminds me a lot of all these different games, Cascadia, King Domino. It kind of neatly packages it, and I feel like it's a pretty approachable kind of medium weight game.
And it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's actually really quick. It says 30 to 40 minutes on the box, and that's probably right, especially, once you get into it, get going, know what you're doing. It's pretty quick, but, I mean, there are some times where it starts to get grindy, especially towards the end when your board starts filling in and you're like, oh boy, I gotta start making really good decisions here.
Yep. There's no more just any kind of thing goes. So.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you rate it?
I don't want to go too high because, I mean, it is still a little bit on the simpler side for my taste. But I think I'd still give it a 7.5. It's one that I feel like could fit in the group with all those games, which for our kind of more approachable, under an hour style games, I think it seems to match up with all of those for me. So I could see myself wanting to pick this one up off the shelf and suggest playing it.
Nice. Yeah, I would probably give it a 6 to a 7, somewhere in there probably. I think it is really good. It is pretty light, but I think it would be interesting enough. I wouldn't say it's filler, but it's close to a filler game. So, like, maybe a good one to end the night on, or in between something kind of a thing. So, I really liked it. I thought it was quite interesting for what it was. So.
Yeah, and it's all happening simultaneously, which
Gotta
is
love that.
Which keeps the game time low. So even at 4 players, you're going as slow as the person that takes long. So me, so that'll be me making it the longest it can be. But we've got an unboxing video if you want to see some of the components inside the box. It's a lot of tiles. It's pretty much what the whole game is boards. Otherwise, there's not too much in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check that out if you want to have a better look at that stuff. Subscribe, give us a like if you liked this video, but otherwise we hope to see you on our other videos, and as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.